Don in London. Hello, it's January 23rd, 2013. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance and behaviour. My substance, alcoholic, now in recovery, and behaviour, well, trying to be perfect with the right people in the right places, doing the right things and having the right things. So no longer doing that either. So just a person in recovery one day at a time. I share here how the fellowship of AA has helped me over the years to find what it is like to be sober, to live sober, and find a new life, which is quite fun when it can be fun, and horrible when it's horrible. So fellowship has helped me find reality, not something which is unreal and relies on something which is equally unreal, trying to be something which I'm not. So fellowship at AA, I don't speak for it, never can, never will. Fellowship is full of good people speaking as they can, where they can, and where they choose to. So I choose to share a bit of experience, strength and hope here. So I share the AA preamble, which is where it all starts for me, and then my reflections on today, which are about how to say no. No. So AA, what is it? I share about what it is because that's where I go to get a bit of spiritual reality. Well, spiritual is reality, and know how my feelings are working. And if my feelings are working in the moment of now, I've got a pretty good idea that life will turn out as best it can be given my life circumstances. So it's not about a fantasy, it's about reality, and it's blinking marvellous. So, Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. It's only there for one thing, to help people to recover and be in recovery. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. And it doesn't have any opinion on me. Well, it might do. People in it do, for sure. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people think it's okay, and some people think it's not okay. But that's the good news. People can have their own opinion. Anyway, I do it to share experience, strength and hope of how it's working for me and how the 12 steps of AA help me. January is all about powerlessness over alcohol. If I were to take a drink, life would get unmanageable. And the consequences of drinking for me these days would be quite horrible. Drinking alcohol, that is. Because it wouldn't be one drink, would it? I mean, if I had one drink, what would be the point? If reality is preferable to a fantasy or a dreamlike world where I don't know what's going on properly, what's the difference? Well, hopefully I've got my wits about me, even though I can get cross and be angry and have all those so-called unhelpful feelings. But no feeling is unhelpful if it's real with what is going on right now. So if I'm in a bad situation, I'll feel bad. If I'm in a good situation, I'll feel good. But if I walk into a good situation full of bad feelings about me and my life, I can't make myself feel good when I feel bad. So the 12 steps are helping me live in the moment where my feelings work, rather than be in my history or be in the future where I don't have any chance, the fantasy of the future. If I don't have the steps there, how on earth can it happen? So I suppose, in a good way, AA helps me find reality right now. So my reflections, if you like, for today, because I sort of get up early and do a bit. I was just reflecting, watching TV, funnily enough. An emphatic no. Yes. An emphatic no is better than a half-hearted yes. I put here, one for the road. That used to be a good thing said at the end of the night. One for the road, a drink. The emotional and spiritual tug between doing what is good for us and what is bad for us. The love affair, standing on the doorstep desiring just one more kiss. Some things are good and best experienced with a clear head, and other times we just don't know how to say no, or even hear somebody else say no most emphatically. So this thing of an emphatic no is better than a half-hearted yes applies to us, and it applies to everybody we encounter. So we have to work out how we can say yes to things and other people can say yes to things as well. I was chatting with a friend on the phone yesterday, and all sorts of difficult situations were occurring because people were treading on their toes, being unbelievably selfish and unable to see my friend's point of view. When we start recovery, the first thing we need to develop is a sense of what is good and what is bad for us. And the old adage, "It's the first drink which does the damage," is absolutely true. It is not the last drink, the one for the road, which does the damage for me. It is the last drink that takes us out of the game or reality, and sometimes completely and forever. Why can't we say no? In a few minutes, but it's probably happened now, the UK Prime Minister is going to suggest that a referendum about being part of the European Union might happen in about 5 years' time. So I might be right, I might be wrong on that. It's a nonsensical issue, though, to discuss something that might happen 5 years from now, when the next decisions on the economy this year might mean there is no European Union to be a part of in 5 years' time. We've got to deal with what's happening right now. The most important part of living is to be assertive about the right things in the moment, to state your case and be able to defend and assert and debate. It's a bit like fellowship, a fellowship with one primary purpose. This is the AA fellowship, with a population of many faiths and beliefs. Similarly, in the European Union, one common purpose, which is union and common ground, economically and politically. One common ground with many different populations having their say. So if we want to have our say, we can. It's called Parliament, the European Parliament. If you don't like something, you can argue about it. If you don't like something, we need to be persuasive and sometimes vote no, even though we might vote yes for some things and no for some other things. So we can have a say, but it doesn't mean we're going to get our own way. That is how democracy works. In fellowship, we can say no to what is bad for us and say yes to what is good for us. And we say it in the moment and not 5 years from now. So if we don't feel right in a fellowship group for whatever reason, and we can't stand it, we can go and find another fellowship group. We can be a bit nomadic, but what I found is I go to many meetings and see many people in the same meetings as me from different groups, and we get on. And the reason why we get on is because we can say yes to what we feel is right for us and no what we feel is wrong for us. But if someone has a strong opinion and says no to it, they may not get their way, but we respect their right to say no. And that's just how it is. You know, it's not always going to be for us. But if we were to come out of the EU or any sort of union of common ground, we need to find another common ground. So we'd have to start from scratch somewhere else, and that's okay too. But be aware of the consequences. And if you're always saying no to things, and you say no to everything, then you probably are in the wrong place. I don't think there's such a place on the planet, maybe, unless we're making it hell for ourselves. But there are places which are hellish, and nobody ought to be there. Anyway, coming back to fellowship stuff. Fellowship is founded on truth, love and wisdom, and as human beings in fellowship we might not always understand what is going on, but the primary purpose is always obvious and said at the beginning of every meeting in the AA preamble. And the final bit, our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And sometimes we have the right ideas and sometimes we have the wrong ideas for ourselves, and sometimes that translates into what we're trying to do to help other people. So the emphatic no is a good thing, and it's good when people say no to you, because it makes you think. You're not going to get your own way, or no, you're asking the wrong person because they don't want to do it and don't feel like it, and they have, with respect, the right to say no. So you can say no to things. And you don't necessarily have to explain yourself. And what lies beneath? It is the emotional and spiritual principles of life. The 12 principles, that's the 12 steps, so that we may learn about what is most important. Unconditional love. Why else are we here on the planet? We write about it, we read about it, we practice it. Love. We live love. How to love people, how to be loved back by people, and find endeavours which are useful. So we have courage to change, faith in doing the next right thing, and develop confidence in living one day at a time. And so we have to say no to quite a lot of stuff, starting with alcohol, and then next page, and then just about everything else we might be addicted to, which is connected with people, places and things. I had to say no to drinking and recognise my powerlessness. If I took one drink, it would not stop there, and then life would become unmanageable yet again. The first emphatic no, rather than a half-hearted yes. Because it's that, why can't I? Am I weak or something? And the answer is no. In my case, I'm an alcoholic, and one drink would never do the fixing I would need. Anyway, and then we find ourselves most likely overwhelmed by our emotions in the moment of now. When we first start, raw emotions, which are not blunted by alcohol or substances, experienced after a good long time, probably are quite unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen with your emotions in your head when you stub your toe and scream at the world, or somebody hits you with a hammer. And why did they do that? We don't know how to either get out of the way or even work out what the feelings ought to be. And if you're thinking about what your feelings are, you're not feeling them, you're thinking what they ought to be. So this thing of feelings, quite unpredictable, which is why the 12 steps are available to help us reform or restart our outlook, understand our feelings for the first time, maybe in a long time, and simply cope with the reality we are in. Simple process, complicated by years and years of ingrained unhelpful outlooks about what we can and cannot do. So usually we drank for conviviality, joy, having a relationship of one sort or another, with drink, with girls, or whichever way round it works for you. So those ingrained unhelpful outlooks about what we can and cannot do start to become apparent. Learning how to say an emphatic no to almost anything is quite helpful. The emphatic no was something Gandhi recommended. So in early days of recovery, when I realised I was headed into danger, because my first response when asked, yes, I can do that, was practising then how to say no, and sharing the quote from Gandhi. This is not a direct quote, it's a bit short, it's a bit of a short version. As Gandhi said, an emphatic no is better than a half-hearted yes. It is stark, sometimes funny and sometimes downright unhelpful to other people who want you to do something to their advantage and not necessarily to your own advantage. When somebody says to you, I'm doing this for your own good, well, it's very condescending for one thing, and my natural reaction is to tell them to fuck off. But then I think, why are you telling me this is for my own good? It's like the doctor saying you shouldn't drink anymore. How dare he suggest such a thing, or she suggest such a thing? What do they know about it? Well, they've got wisdom of the years, experience from their doctoring, and all the rest of it. But, we say, no, how dare you? So we have to work out what is good and what is bad for us. And if we actually admit and accept that alcohol is a bad idea, then, yes, we're on the right track. At least we know. And then, what am I going to do about it? So, you could say no to them, whoever they may be. And you could say, if you were in my shoes, being asked this question, you might want to use this quote to start to understand if it's a reasonable thing you ask of me. Gandhi said an emphatic no is better than a half-hearted yes. So, in this case, looking at it from my point of view, the answer is no. No! We might say, when asked to do something which is wrong for us, no, it would be wrong for me to do this right now, and actually, I can't ever see me wanting to do it in the future. It's a good way of stopping the people pleasing we might do, which is dangerous for us. Often people make unreasonable requests, at least we feel they are. And equally, we might be making unreasonable requests of other people. Other people don't have a problem saying no most of the time, if they are normal people, but then the world's a bit twisted, and we all seem to be quite egocentric. So, and the problem with ego is we all have it. I was channel hopping last night, and there's something on the BBC which had a St Bernard dog, because we've still got snow all over the place at the moment. So St Bernard dog, as in Switzerland, with a barrel round its neck. So the St Bernard dog came onto the screen and was wearing a barrel round its neck with brandy in it. The TV presenter offered some brandy to their guest, who said, "No thanks, I don't drink anymore." Ha! Which confused them for a few moments, and then the uncomfortable silence, as the point of the St Bernard dog and the barrel and the brandy were made redundant. So the presenter felt awkward, and they were helped up by their co-presenter, who said, "Don't worry, I'll have some." And it was very interesting first that the person said no thanks, and the presenters obviously hadn't done their homework. And then one of them takes a drink, and it's obvious to a non-drinker like me, that's me, that one drink has impaired the presenter. What seemed a convivial start to a programme, well, it didn't go too well after that. It's very insulting to get a St Bernard dog on and start the whole thing off with something which the person can't do anymore, or does not do anymore, for whatever reason. So, well, it didn't go too well after that, and the obvious thing for me is respect for the guest who was gentle and firm and said no. And this is good news for anyone who learns how to say no. You don't have to get angry to say no, it would be difficult. A clear no to what is bad for a person leaves no room for manoeuvre, or any form of ridicule for saying no. If a person persists in asking you to do something and pressurises you, the emphatic no is truly important. And then if pressed further, just tell them to kindly fuck off and mind their own business. Because some people won't go until you tell them to go. Fellowship is not perfect. I'm not perfect. The principles are perfect, and we can make progress towards having a good day. Days in recovery, yes, they are good, they are bad, and they are ugly in differing amounts depending on what is going on and what you are doing and what the world is doing. Fellowship is full of people having good, bad and ugly experiences all day long, every day. So we learn from all life experiences going on today, living in the moment. When we go to meetings of the fellowship, we will learn equally when people share the good, the bad and the ugly, and what they are doing about it, what they learn and decide to do and say yes to, and what they learn and decide to do, and how they say no. I do feel that Gandhi was right. An emphatic no is better than a half-hearted yes to what is good for us and what is bad for us. And we only learn the difference in the moment of now. So you can't say no, no, not ever. Except for one thing, in my case, alcohol. But I also have to watch out for the other behaviour around wanting to be perfect for the right girl in the right place at the right time. If I start playing that game again, I'll never get anywhere. So, recovery offers the opportunity for everyone to get their wits back and be able to work out what to do next. On a daily basis, the day could start good, start to go off, and depending how we deal with our choices, now that we are sober, will impact on all the possibilities all day long. If our outlook is to be open, honest and willing, we have better opportunities to gather good intelligence and information about what we can do and what we can't do. It doesn't take the fun out of life. Indeed, it makes it more fun to be working out and working with and asking other people, in my shoes, what would you do? As you start to realise that you have your freedoms back, you need to realise everybody else has their freedom as well. And everything we do is probably a negotiation about yes and no. Yes to having fun, no to having fun. Yes to good, bad and ugly, no to good, bad and ugly. And recognising sometimes just not feeling like doing something is perfectly acceptable. After all, we are neither doormats, and we don't want to make doormats of other people either. So when you need your rest and relaxation, it's perfectly okay to say no, And if you're already engaged in other activities and somebody asks you to do something which you can do because you have the skill, say, no, I haven't got the time, I'm really sorry. Don't worry, the more you understand that other people have equal rights, may like you in some ways, but don't want to do... Oh, yeah, this is just... sorry, I misread it. If you're looking to get your way in this life, it might be very difficult. It might be a very difficult life, as many doors will shut, and you are probably the one shutting them. Don't worry, the more you understand that other people have equal rights, just like you in some ways, but don't want to be your best buddy, the more you will find the right buddies one day at a time. So some people will like to be with you, some people won't like to be with you, and it works both ways. And then you find the buddies who are right for you. You probably find a handful of people who you come to relate to on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. But, life and times change. And if you are single, you might find romance, and you might just find what it is to love without conditions. Usually the condition you impose on yourself are the worst ones. Need to be worked out as much as no conditions on anyone, anywhere, at any time. So no expectations means no resentments. No entitlements means you're not looking, I deserve this. The answer is no. Nobody deserves anything. We work at it. So no expectations means no resentments under constructions. So if you like someone, you better be likeable just for today. We all have to be likeable, lovable, and we all are likeable and lovable if we've got our wits about us and we are equal with ourselves. Don't put ourselves up there or down there. Just be level and hope that people can be level with you. But if they can't be level with you, emphatically no. It's not for me, not now, not ever. And then that door shuts, another door's open, and you've got to let it go. Why couldn't they be just more reasonable? The answer is, they're unreasonable. And let them be unreasonable, but you don't have to be unreasonable with them. You don't have to put up with it, just for the sake of it. But that doesn't take away your responsibilities in life. We are all responsible for what we do, who we're with, and what we have. So it's not a get out of jail free card, it's a freedom of choice card in the moment of now to make the best of what is. The serenity prayer, can do, can't do, and the emphatic no, and the emphatic yes as well. Can do, can't do, wisdom to know the difference, works in every moment. It's to God or in good conscience, or whatever your religion is, whatever your purpose is, to the good, to find serenity again. Restoring yourself to sanity is a daily thing, and in the moment. And if you're sane, you have more of a chance of serenity and peacefulness. Even when there is a storm blowing all around you, there is always a calm place of sanity. But there's feelings there too. Serenity and peacefulness is a feeling, or feelings. So to God or in good conscience, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference in the moment, in the minute, in the hour, and just for today.